Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video we're going to be making the medium mandala in my Enigma mandala series. So this is the second one in this series, and then we wrote this one larger, that's the third one. Yarn you need are various colors of Scheepjes Katona yarn. I've got yarn kits and all the yarn information and everything on my website. The link is in the video description. It's allinanutshell.com. And I also have various yarn kits and colorways and things for you. Also a link to those things are in the video description. The hook size, I'm using a 3mm hook so that you have a nice and tight mandala, so it's slightly smaller than is actually recommended for the yarn. So all information is in the video description. Let's get started with this medium-sized mandala. A medium mandala starts with a small one. So this is the first 10 rounds. It's made in part 1. The first 10 rounds, the medium for the small mandala, and then we're going to grow this one larger to make the medium mandala. So first work the 10 rounds if you haven't done that yet, and then we'll start from this one onwards. Round 11, I have a new color yarn on my hook with a slip knot, and this round we're going to be working in the back loop only of the stitches. So it doesn't matter where you start, but it is important that you work only in the back loop, and we're going to be working single crochets in this round. So in the back loop there, for example, I'm just going to start in any stitch with a standing single crochet. I want to work 14 in total, so that's the first one, so I need to work 13 more. 2, and you see how I'm only working through the back loop. And it's not compulsory. If you feel that you don't want to, then that's of course also fine. But it just gives a nice little line here, and that's why I'm doing this. So 13 stitches plus that first one, of course, gives you 14. Just through the back loop. There we go. I've now worked 13 more, plus the first one is 14 singles, all in the back loop. The next stitch we work 2 single crochets, so 2 singles in the one stitch. So that's 1 and 2. And this is the repeat, going to do this all the way around. So now again 14 singles, so that's the first one, second, so likewise 14 singles, back loop only, and then again 2 in the stitch after, so it's 14 and then 2 and then 14 and 2. Go all the way around. You're going to be finishing here and then close on your first stitch. So you're going to be finishing with two singles in the one stitch, and then close on your first stitch with a slip stitch and fasten off. Round 12, new color yarn on my hook, and again it doesn't matter where you start. I'm going to start with a standing double crochet cluster, and this is a 2 cluster, so that means you've got 2 doubles worked in one stitch. So I'm going to yarn over for the standing bit, then any stitch, doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm going to grab this one, pick up the loop, take off 2, then yarn over again in the same stitch, pick up a loop, take off 2, 3 loops on your hook, take them all off, and there we go. That's a standing 2 double crochet cluster. Chain 4, 3, 4. Skipping 3 stitches, we then work another cluster. So 1, 2, 3, skip, and then in the 4th stitch work another one of these. This you're going to repeat all the way around. So chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, skip, and in the 4th stitch a 2 2 double cluster. Now worked a few of them, repeat all the way round, and then after your last cluster it'll be a chain 4, then close here on this first standing stitch. So here in that stitch, close there with a slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off. Round 13, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in any of these chain spaces. Start with a standing single crochet. So in any space, work one single, followed by another. So 2 singles in the space. We're now going to come down, and here you have these 3 skipped stitches. That's center one. I'm going to work a treble in there, and it's important that you miss the stitches here to the back. So yarn over twice for the treble, and then into that second of the third stitches, and it's important that you really fold your work to the back, that you miss the rest. You don't catch anything, and complete the treble. Now come back up to the chain space and work 2 more singles in the chain space. And this little group, I'm going to repeat that all the way around. I'll show you again. So 2 singles in this next space. So you're skipping the cluster stitch. Yarn over twice for the treble. You've got 3 skipped stitches. Grab the center one. Make sure your work is to the back. You don't work over anything. Complete the treble, and then in the same space where you're already at, work 2 more. Now repeat this all the way around. Got quite a few more spaces to do, and here after your last set of stitches, close on your first standing single crochet with a slip stitch and fasten off. Round 14, new color yarn on my hook. On these 4 singles, going to start on that first one with a standing double crochet. That's 1, and then on the next 3 stitches work a double as well. So 1, 2, 3 more. So now you have 4 doubles in total. Chain 2, 1, 2, and skip the treble here, and then come to the next single crochets and work a double on those 4 also. So 1, 2, 3, and then this is 4, and these 4 are of course the same. So now it's again chain 2, skipping the treble, come to the single and work a double. Now we're going to repeat that all the way round. When you get to the beginning, when you're back here, you're going to work your last 4 doubles, then a chain 2 and close on this first standing stitch, and you can also fasten off. Round 15, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in the second of any 4 double crochets. So in that second one with a standing single. So second stitch, start with a standing single crochet. The next 2 stitches also get a single. 1 and 2. You have now the chain 2 space. In that space work 1 single crochet. So you now have 4 singles. We're going to come down. Here this treble, we missed this treble. In that stitch, you're going to work a treble popcorn. Okay, that means yarn over twice because it's a treble, and then into that stitch. Now you're going to have to fold your work into that stitch, and be sure to miss your stitches here, so to work in front of them. Work a treble. 1, 2, 3 times yarn off. But this is 1, you need 4 more, so 5 trebles in total in this one stitch. And this is 2. And this round is a real yarn eater, because these popcorns, they take a lot of yarn. 3. This is 4. And the last treble. 5. And you see all the time I'm just folding my work here to the back, so I don't accidentally work over that. There. 5 trebles. Open up your working loop, just hold on to that, and then come to the first of the 5 trebles. So there, insert your hook into that stitch and grab your working loop, put it back on your needle. Just pull tight, and now pull your working loop through that first stitch and chain 1. That completes the treble popcorn. Here you have the double crochets. Skip this first one and come to the second and work a single. And this single is the same as the standing one we started with. So these stitches, this is your repeat. That means work, if we now start the second repeat, so it's 2 singles, 1 on each, and then a single in the chain space, and now again a treble popcorn. So yarn over twice. In that skipped treble from 2 rows down, work 1 treble, and this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Open up that loop, come to the first stitch, insert your hook, pick up your loop and pull through. Chain 1, remember the chain 1, that's just to close the popcorn. Skipping that next double, come to the second one and work a single. There we go. And this is it. Now I've done 2 repeats, go all the way around. This is a time-consuming round and a yarn eater. And after you've done your last treble popcorn, close here on your first stitch there with a slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off. Round 16, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in the first of 4 single crochets with a standing double. So yarn over in that first single, standing double. Got 3 more singles, 1 in each of those. 2. And that means you will have 4 doubles here on those 4 stitches. Next up is the treble popcorn. The treble popcorn gets 2 doubles. So in there, that's 1 and 2. And repeat. So on your next stitch here is the single. So note that this loop here, that's the chain 1 from the popcorn. So don't work in that. Here you've got the first single. Go in there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the popcorn 2 trebles. 1, 2, and repeat all the way around. When you get to the first stitch here, close with an invisible join. Round 17. This round we're going to work a back post double crochet on every stitch. First one is a standing stitch, and it doesn't matter where you start. So a back post double on every stitch all the way around, and when you get to the first stitch, join on that stitch. So again, a very relaxing round, just one on every stitch all the way round. When you've done that round of double crochets, you're ready to join the mandala to the ring. So here, this is the medium-sized ring, and again you can see the mandala is smaller than the ring. If you want to measure its diameter, it's often easier from the back because of those back post stitches. You should just see where you're at right now. You're at give or take 22 centimeters or so, which is give or take 9 inches. So that's where you're at the moment, a maximum of 22-23 centimeters, and which is of course quite smaller than the ring it goes into. I'll again be showing you how to join the mandala to the ring. It's the same procedure as for the small mandala, and I'll again use different video footage to actually show this to you. But let's join the mandala to the ring. Now, to join this to the ring, chain 1. This is not a stitch, it's just to get you to the correct working height, and I'm just going to zoom in a little further so that you can really see what I'm doing on attaching this ring. Going to work a single crochet 2 together in the current stitch, the next stitch, and the ring. Now what do we do? So we're currently here in this stitch with a slip stitch, so I'm inserting my hook into that stitch where I'm currently at, and because there's a slip stitch there, might be a little snug. So into the stitch, then go with your hook underneath the ring, and the yarn is over the ring, and pick up the yarn from the back and bring it forward. Now come to the next stitch, insert your hook into that stitch, go underneath the ring. Your yarn is already here to the back, so grab that yarn and bring it forward. You now have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and take them all off. And that was a single crochet 2 together, worked over the current stitch and the next stitch and the ring. This idea we're going to repeat all the way around, so I'll show you again. In the current stitch, so that's the stitch where we just finished, so you're going to, in that same position, insert your hook, go underneath the ring, the yarn is from the top, grab your yarn, bring it forward. Come to the next stitch, go underneath the ring, pick up the yarn from the back, bring it forward, and take it off, and pull through. And it's important to always take the stitch where you finished as your first yarn over. The reason is that this will result in just more loops covering the ring. So that's why we're doing it this way, as opposed to just working single crochets all the way around, which is of course an option. It's definitely an option. But by doing this, what's happening is that you're going to have more yarn overs covering the ring, so you're going to be hiding the ring better. So that's the idea. So in the current stitch and the next stitch, and then take them off. And this is a slow process, so you're going to have to take your time on working these stitches. So I'm going to make it jump in the video, and then I'll be all the way around, and then I'll just show you the closing, because I'm going to close this with an invisible join. So go all the way around. When you're further through, you'll have to start stretching the mandala and just giving it, easing these stitches around the ring as it stretches up. But continue like this: a single crochet, 2 together in the current stitch, the next stitch, and the ring. And when you're here, then I'll see you back. Almost all the way around. I have a few stitches left. See, I've got one unworked stitch there, so current stitch and the next stitch, that's still unworked, so that means here, and then also the next one, and take them off. And the last stitch will be in, well, both of them will be worked already, because you've got here this stitch which already has a loop, of course, and the next stitch, which is the stitch where we started, so there's that slip stitch in there. So both of these already have a stitch. So that's one, and then here I'm just going to eyeball where I put it, because it can be a little tricky to get there in there. There, and take off. And that was the last stitch. It looks a little messy here, but don't worry, we're going to fix that. Cut your yarn and open up this loop. I'm going to thread the yarn on my needle, and to make this look more pretty, I'm just going to come into you can either take this stitch or the next stitch, it really doesn't matter, because the idea is we're going to pull this tight anyway. So I'm actually going to take that stitch, I'm going to work over this one, and then pull this a little tight, closing that stitch, and then come back into the last stitch worked in there, and then just push that a little to the back and grab a loop or two at the back also. That'll just help to secure this yarn. And pull this a little tight, closing these stitches and closing this gap. You can see how pretty it now looks. So I'm just going to work away this yarn tail and the one that's to the back here. I do that if I just turn it around by just working into the stitches here that are just under the ring. I kind of tend to hide it there. I'm just going to work away these yarn tails, and then we're finished. When you've attached the mandala to the ring, this is what your work looks like. So that completes your medium mandala. We're going to continue and make a large mandala also, so that means what the pattern rounds, you need to repeat that also on one mandala. So you're going to have this one, we're going to grow this further in the third part. So your medium mandala is now completed, that's this one, and your small mandala also, that was from part 1. So these two are now ready, and in the third part we'll grow this one larger to its final size. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon for the last part.